It's Rusty Diamond, motherfucker.
Yo, man. Boom, it's Rusty. What is up, everybody? Welcome to the podcast, the public access podcast here on the Quantum Global Broadcasting Network, QGBN. The show is sponsored by Fred Ben Savage as Fuck, Stoney's Productions, Hardcore Entertainment. Hypnosis is great, and suck'emup.org. So thank you guys, everybody, for being here. I appreciate it. Appreciate you listening. Make sure to like, subscribe, share, comment, do all that. And also, if you really want to, you can leave a message. But if you do not want to leave a message, well, that's okay too. And you can do this.
Messages? We don't need no stinking messages.
But I need messages. Give me some messages. You can get a hold of me at 503-974-6420 or send me an email at either rustydiamondhypnosis@gmail.com or the public access pod at gmail.com. And I'm going to go bring on our guest, my special guest today, right here and right now. Right here, right now, we have Michelle Steiner. How you doing, Michelle?
I'm doing great. How are you today?
Not too shabby. It's not a bad day today at all.
Good. Glad to hear that.
Thank you. So where are you in the world here?
I'm in Pennsylvania.
Oh, okay, all right. The PA. Have you ever been over to the Hershey Park?
Yes, a lot. Yeah, we were just there a few years ago. So yeah, it's been a while.
How is the park? I've been looking into it with a friend of mine who's been wanting to go there.
Right. The park, I remember going when I was really young, and it was a lot of fun. Like, you got a tour of the place, which was really nice. We were near the park a few years ago. We went to the gardens, but it was a lot of fun. Yeah, definitely. Highly recommended.
What are the gardens?
They have like a botanical garden. Like, there's one that's a butterfly garden inside, and then outside it's just like they have roses and they have different kinds of flowers, and it was just really neat to go there.
That sounds pretty neat. I don't know. Yeah, I have a buddy. He asked me about it. He has a kid, and he already did the Disney park,
Yeah.
and he wanted something different. Which he's listening to this probably anyway.
Yeah.
So yeah, go to Hershey and not. It probably costs a little less to go.
Yes, so definitely. It costs less to do that. And it's a nice little, it's a small town, but it is nice to do that. And yeah, it costs less, and it's nice for kids, and yeah.
And adults.
And adults too. Yes, there's something for everybody.
Yeah. And I assume chocolate too, somewhere along the way.
Oh yeah, they I believe they can get some candy, and yeah, a lot of treats afterwards.
Excellent. So let's see. So your position is you're helping and assisting people with getting into courses, college or other places?
Actually, what I do is I'm a paraeducator. So I work in a school with students that have disabilities, and I work a lot with students that have autism. Some of them have learning disabilities like I do, and ADHD, and sometimes just some students that just need a little extra help. And what I assist the teacher And we work together to just make sure that they're getting what they need, help them with their assignments. And I also do some advocacy work with them. A lot of times we'll have students that come in and they're a little afraid to ask for help. And I give them that, that little push that it's okay to ask for help. And all the kids know, don't ask me to help them with math. And
That's okay.
yeah, and I also have a blog called Michelle's Mission. And on my
Okay.
blog, I talk about having a learning disability, and I use a lot of nature metaphors, and I also put my photography on there as well.
What do you like taking pictures of? Hershey Park, among other things.
Well, I like taking pictures of flowers. That nature has always been a passion of mine. And butterflies, that's another thing I love to do. And I'm not able to drive because of my learning disability, the visual perception part. It's not in my eyes, but it's in my brain. So whenever I go on for I'll be in the car with my husband and I'll say, "Did you see this?" And he'll be like, "No, I didn't see that." He's focused on the road like he should be. And I'll get that chance later to go and take that picture of a flower or something that I saw. And that gives me a way to be able to connect a lot of my blog posts around disabilities.
So you're taking pictures while he's driving, you're taking pictures out the window?
I usually don't take them out the window.
Or not out the, but focused out the window?
I haven't really done that. Maybe when we saw a rainbow, I can remember that. That was the time that I remember taking a picture out of the window. But a lot of times in our own neighborhood, I'll have that chance to go back there and take that picture, or I'll see, oh, there's a garden. We didn't know that existed, or there's a new something that came up, and we get that chance to look that up. And just some of those things that being in the passenger seat, if I was in the driver's seat, I would miss out on a lot of that.
Right. And so what about like walking around? Do you have your camera when you're taking walks and kind of ready for anything?
Oh yeah, I generally have my phone with me, and so I'll be taking pictures of flowers and seeing things, and that's definitely what I try to have, because I never know what I'll find. And I think that's one of the things I love about spring and summer is we're always getting different things that are coming up. And now I can, since we lived in our neighborhood for about a few years at our house, I'll know, these flowers come up around this time. I know this house has flowers that come up around that. And it kind of is just nice to go back there and see all those changes, and then also some new favorites.
Like what?
Well, sometimes we'll have lilies that'll come out, and I know, this person always has lilies out in the front, or some roses that bloom. And I get, so sometimes those are some new things. And then we also have a membership with Phipps Conservancy in Pittsburgh. So we go, and that's our favorite. We are always there. We can have the same show, because they run the same one for a few months usually. But what changes is every time we go there's something, either a new flower blooming, or there's a new, just something that's new, even if it's the same show.
So this is a show at a botanical garden?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay.
And they put up theme shows every couple of months. They have a new theme.
Like what are some examples of some of the themes?
Well, around Christmas, we always have the Christmas show. So there's always just a lot of holiday related things. And then usually around January through February, it's our orchid and bonsai tree show, which is neat. My husband loves bonsais. And then
you a fan of the Karate Kid or something? Or?
Oh yeah, he likes stuff like that. And we also get a spring flower show, and that's only a few weeks. And then they'll have different themed ones for the summer. This summer's theme show is Billy Porter's Flowers Meet Fashion.
So what's that going to be like?
That is a lot of, they have some dresses and fashion. They have boots that are hanging up. different parts of things from his show, like things like that, and just different themes. And there's also flowers that bloom alongside all of that too.
And so I have a question about your photography. So
Mhm.
did you start out with? Did you have I mean, when did your photography passion start out? Was that something when you were a kid and you had I mean, what was your first camera, I guess, or was it, did you get into it on your phone?
I got into it with my phone and my iPad. I can remember my husband and I were on vacation. Well, we were at a wedding, and we also turned it into just a little mini vacation. We went to somewhere in New York to a cemetery, and it was around fall. And I took these pictures of angels, and I had at the cemetery, and I had a friend that was really particular, like about things. And she looked at me and she said, "These are really good." And I thought, well, oh my goodness, if I made her happy, then we must have something going on. So I put them in a show, and I think I got honorable mention or something. And that was my first time that I did that. And
Wow.
from that point, I just started taking pictures. And what I got a lot of people saying was, "You're bringing out details and flowers that I miss." And I thought, oh, that's the visual part that comes with a learning disability. Because I can remember growing up with one, and everybody would say, "Oh, you have a learning disability. I bet you're a great artist." And I'd be really frustrated because with my limited hand dexterity, it would be really hard to draw things and write. And I thought, oh, I don't really have the visual thing. And it turns out I did. It just, I had to find it, and mine was photography.
So how does that work? What's the visual part of it that is the disability? What's
Sure.
going on?
That is my eye-hand coordination. And what'll happen is, I can remember, I'm terrible at sports. I can remember when I was really young, gym class was a nightmare. Coordinating my body is really hard. And it also is really difficult. Like anytime I get an object that comes in my eyes or near that, I flinch. So that was really hard. And we knew driving was going to be a challenge. So one of the things my parents did was they said, "Okay, let's just wait a year." So we didn't even attempt to do anything when I turned 16, like a lot of kids that age would do. So we waited, and my parents, after we waited about a year, they started working with me at home. One of the first things that we did was, my job was to mow we had a big field. My parents live out in the country, so there's not a whole lot around. And they gave me the riding lawnmower and had me try to mow. And instead of making really nice, long, perfect straight lines, I ended up making circles. So I affectionately say that I now know where crop circles come from. That's what they look like. And then we tried driving up the driveway with my mom, long driveway. And we get up there, and thankfully my mom was in the car with me, or else I would have wrecked the car into the garage. So we knew at that point, I think that this wasn't going to be simple as, okay, study for the learner's permit and go out and get a license. So
Right.
I had an evaluation done at a rehabilitation hospital for driving, and I passed everything on vision, what to do if your car breaks down, all of those skills. The only thing they said they could not recommend me getting my license for was the visual perception. And that's, the only part I couldn't do. But it relieved a lot of the weight off my shoulders, because I knew with coordinating my body, that would be really hard. I knew how gym class was. I mean, I am able to do group fitness classes at my local gym, but I just need to not do anything competitive. But I thought, if I go in and I'm driving and I hurt somebody because of it, I just couldn't live with doing that.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty fair. And that's, it's nice that you can understand that and notice it. And I mean, But I mean, yeah, maybe you're driving artist. I mean, if you're making crop circles in there, I mean, maybe
Yeah,
that's your art and you don't know about it. If you can,
yeah,
you
that's
know, find a nice place where you have some open room, you could probably do some nice art there as well.
yeah, exactly. Maybe that would be an option.
You know, if you got a big yard to mow, and so then you're taking a lot of pictures. You said flowers and butterflies, and so what got you interested in the butterflies?
I always loved butterflies whenever I was young. That was always something I loved. And then as an adult, I really started liking them even more. I was decorating with them, things I would see, but a lot of butterflies. And I noticed uh, right after we did see our first butterfly hatch, that
Oh,
that was the first one was really interesting. My husband picked some flowers out of the garden that were from the butterflies really like. And I thought, okay, we have this nice flower in here. And I started to notice this little thing on the flower. And I thought, oh, we just got a worm or something. And I'm just not gonna, worry about that. I kept putting it off. I thought, oh, I'll get rid of it or something. But I left it there. And sure enough, though, it wasn't a worm. It started to become yellow and look like a caterpillar. And I was like,
oh,
oh, we have a caterpillar here. And I got to watch that transformation of it going through the chrysalis and
chrysalis, yeah.
just seeing it come out. And I was like, oh, we had a beautiful monarch butterfly. And I was able to compare my life with having a learning disability to all the phases of that butterfly that we saw. And it's Pennsylvania, we can't do it year round with having butterflies, but every spring we get the kit. We have a butterfly habitat. Our cats really like to, are very interested in that. So we kind of have to keep them safe. But I get to see that process of the butterflies that just transform, through that thing, through that transformation. And we have painted ladies. And another thing with butterflies is significant is instead of throwing rice or bubbles at our wedding, my husband, we did a butterfly release. And they were painted lady butterflies. So I always think about that happy day too, whenever we release them
Yeah.
here.
So what would that look like? I mean, did everyone know there were going to be a bunch of butterflies that were flying out after you two got married, or what?
Most people knew because they knew I love butterflies, and they most of them knew. We had a small wedding, but yeah, everyone that knew me loved that. And I can remember right before I was ready to go down the aisle, and I was getting ready and to start, one of my friends came up and she showed me the butterfly, and you could see it moving in the envelope. So, and they sat in my parents' fridge until it was ready, because we had to keep it cool enough so they wouldn't necessarily be ready to fly, early. Yeah. So yeah. And they were waking up, and yeah.
And so yeah, I mean, that's a cool way to do that. And so did you but at this point you have the butterflies going out, but you don't have your camera, you don't have your phone or your iPad. I mean, what were you thinking then? Was that a thought in your head even? I hope someone's getting pictures of this, and what I would do if I was taking this picture as opposed to what someone else would have done.
Right. We did have a photographer, and we had other people take pictures as well. And we had our butterflies, we didn't get too much of it up close of them. I think there was one of our guests got a good shot. I think the photographer got one of them, but then we have our pictures of us just opening up the envelopes and the butterflies going around, and yeah.
Cool. And so, I mean, if you're going to teach someone photographing techniques differently from somebody else? What's the way that you would do it that someone else probably wouldn't pick up on? What's some small detail that you would like to show people how to do that, other people might overlook, like you were saying, with
Mhm.
the different parts of the flower that people usually don't see?
What I would like to tell people is just to be aware of what is around there, because a lot of times people just maybe wouldn't have that awareness that, oh, there's this new flower, because people go through life maybe not reflecting or not pausing. That's one thing. I'm not sure how to, I've never taught photography before, but I just go in and I see it and then I'm like, oh, okay, this, and sometimes what people don't see too are the ones that don't work out. And you're like, oh, okay, that just goes to but
Yeah.
a lot of times we just play around with it too. We see what kind of filters we see. Okay, is it going to look good if I take it from this angle? And a lot of times it's just a lot of trial and error, and just to be patient with the process.
And so then, are you having like a okay, so like if someone is driving a car as opposed to walking, let's say you're walking, you're driving down your street and there's 10 houses and 10 yards. If someone's driving a car, looking out the window, what they see compared to what you would see even being a passenger or being like walking and going up to the actual whatever the subject is, the flower or whatever. I mean, that's something, because you're both seeing the street that you live on. You both could go at the end of the day and say, oh, I went and saw my whole street. Post something on Facebook or something. But then the experience that you get and the experience that the person driving the car gets are going to be two completely different things.
Yes.
Yeah. Or, like if you're driving through a downtown area, I mean, someone's going to say, oh, I saw this storefront. I saw a big sign that said, eat at Joe's or something. But then you would see, something in the window, some some flyer for something that's going on soon, or but that person that was driving by wouldn't have seen that. So is that sort of what it would be like with when you're taking pictures
Yes.
of flowers? You feel like you're in there and you're seeing stuff that others would just kind of drive, quote unquote, drive past?
Right. A lot of times I'll see that. Like I will see a flower that maybe somebody else will miss, or someone else will, because they're so focused on the road, they don't get to see a lot of what's the surroundings. And sometimes when we do travel, my husband, he'll be focused on the road with safety, but he'll say, can you look out for this? Because I mean, thankfully it's a little easier now that everything is like on our phone, that we can use like with Google Maps and things, but or for directions. But sometimes even when we had GPS before, didn't always go with the way that we thought it was going to. And sometimes even on our directions things on our phones, that doesn't always go that way. So he'll be like, hey, keep an eye out for this or keep an eye out for that. And so we work together.
Yeah, I think one thing that needs to happen with the maps on our phone is they need to have it. If you need to take, let's say you need to take a left turn here, but then pretty soon after you're gonna have to take a right after that. So like, so it would say, take a left, but be ready to make a right-hand turn soon after. And I feel or something on the freeway, if people are driving on the freeway, and if you have to hit a couple interchanges really fast, make sure you take this exit to the right, but then make sure you're all the way over to the left because you're gonna have to take this exit right away to get onto another freeway.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly. Yeah.
I think that would help. I mean, back when we used to have to do with the maps and stuff, I mean, we could we would have that, you know, I don't know, because you wouldn't really probably be driving and looking at the map at the same time. Someone else might be holding the map, but at least that, you know, that person can go and be able to tell more than one stop ahead. And with driving, I mean, I think it's,
Yeah.
yeah, you know, any navigation, you know, being one step ahead at least.
Exactly. And I'm terrible with maps. So I can just remember being frustrated back in school when we would get these maps. I'm like, oh boy, here we go. And I do struggle like with the left and the right, like the confusion. And that's part of the learning disability. But I get that chance though to say, oh, I can see this, or I can see that, or I can, you know, where things are. So
Yeah. And so, so then are you having times where you say, hey, stop the car, I need to get out and take a picture of this, just grab the wheel and fly over to the right hand side, or you know, whatever you do to get attention to
yeah.
have the car be pulled over?
Usually we don't do a whole lot of that. A lot of times it's just I'll observe things. And then if it is like, if it's in locally and I can walk to it, I'll think, oh, there's that flower that's on this street. Next time I'm out, maybe I'll take a little walk over and see what, you know, and take a picture of it. But usually when we're driving, I don't always get that chance to do that, but that's okay too. But sometimes I'll think in the future, oh, that might be something new. We didn't know that garden existed or that place happened. So I try to put those in the back of my head.
Cool. And then so with your students you work with, have you ever got them into anything photography, or kind of being able to see things through your point of view? If they're looking, you know, like looking at something in the classroom, are you ever, you know, trying to show them how you're seeing things, or is that?
I generally don't do a whole lot of that, but what I do is I always seem to get the kids that are really into art and might be a little quiet and maybe overlooked, and they give the chance to show me their artwork, and I get that chance to encourage them to be able to you know, just to keep on going and to pursue that passion.
So are they doing art when you're in class then? Is there class time doing art?
Well, I do have
Sometimes.
students that go into art class. Yes, the
Okay.
most of the students. Last year I worked with 7th graders, so we have students that switch a lot
Okay.
of classes, and sometimes I'll go with them to their art class, or just in the beginning I'll walk them or kind of communicate with the art teacher, because a lot of times they don't have help in the room. And I get that chance to kind of just be like, okay, it's going to be okay. We'll, especially the ones who really aren't into it. I'm like, it's okay. But a lot of times we'll have students that'll have free time and they'll draw things. And I get that chance to be like, oh, that's really nice. And I love it when they show me their artwork. I think that's a good thing too.
Yeah. And then, so then you're also going into class, like, besides having everyone in one class, you're also going in and doing the help with individual students, and
Yes.
who kind of, you know, that are both in the classroom with everybody else in the
Yes.
class, as well
Right.
as the classroom, like with where they're not with everybody in the class, and
Yes.
and can use a little extra help.
Sure. Yeah, exactly. Because a lot of times I'll go into regular ed classrooms, like a regular ed history or regular ed English. And I'll help them in the room. And we have students that have disabilities, and we have some that just need a little extra help, and others that, I mean, that maybe don't need that necessarily, but we try to go in and just help a lot, just whoever needs that, just that little extra push. Or that little extra assistance. And then we do have a room that kids come in for like a study hall almost, but they get specialized help with their work. And that,
Oh.
yeah.
And so then what's the difference between when you were a kid and going through school compared to what's going on now? I mean, do they have, or did you notice the program then was different than it is now? Is it better now, or is it, yeah?
It's slightly different now. Because whenever I first started, they found out I had a learning disability in kindergarten. So
Okay.
I had to repeat kindergarten the following year, and that in a new school. And we only had partial of the day kindergarten. So I started my day in a first grade classroom, like for a homeroom. And then I went to learning support, ate lunch with my first grade class, and then went to kindergarten in the afternoon. That was a little confusing, especially when it was photography. Whenever we had our school pictures, I was in two classes. So it was, yeah, I think the poor photographer and the other kids didn't get it when the yearbook came out. But I
Did
had
you-
yeah.
Did you get two pictures, or did you
I-
use the same picture twice?
They used, I think, I can't remember. Maybe it was the same picture twice, or maybe it was two pictures. I can't remember, but I think my family only purchased one of that year. But I can remember I had learning support where I was in all learning support classes in the beginning, where it was specialized instruction on what I could do. And I can remember eventually a lot of those strategies worked. I was frustrated. I wanted to learn just like everybody else did. And eventually I was starting to get into more regular ed classes for reading, science, and social studies. And I had accommodations along with them. I had extended test time. I had the test read aloud to me, and those helped my brain be able to process the information a lot better. And I can remember there was a stigma that was attached to that, because a lot of times our school was a very small school district, so there wasn't a lot of diversity, and my disability really stuck out in a negative way. So there was that social aspect, and I was yeah.
I'm sorry, how so?
Well,
What was
a
going
lot
on
of
with
my
that?
peers didn't think that I was smart. They lumped me in with all the learning support students, and everyone thought, oh, she can't learn at all. Or, and it was hard because my learning support peers, they struggle more with reading and behavioral issues. And some of them, I don't even think had learning disabilities. I think they had some other disabilities, but we didn't know where to place them. So we were all kind of in one room when we had learning support. And then the regular ed peers didn't view me as smart. So that was hard. And when I was in elementary school, it was, okay, you didn't get invited to a birthday party. No one wanted to play with you on the playground. But as a teenager, you had more groups that were defined. And I really didn't feel like I fit in with a lot of my peers that I went to school with. And one of the things that really helped with that is I found in a neighboring school district, there were some students that participated in an art program with a newsletter. And yeah, so I started to write for them and met some other peers that, didn't know me, and I could shed that reputation of being the outcast that I had for all those years. And that led to support, like with me reaching out to other people in the community, and some of those friendships and my writing groups were friends 25 years later. So, yeah.
Wow. And so, I mean, do you think that being an outcast as a kid, do you
Mhm.
think that helped you? Like you said, more being able to reach out to other people because you know that
Mhm.
you know what it's kind of like to be an outcast and kind of on the
Yeah.
on the fringe, and I like not really finding your spot. And but I think that builds a lot of character as well. And
Yep.
you're able to know who you are. You're not, you already knew who you were, as opposed to thinking that you are that group at first. But then you're able to find out that I can get in with an art group, and
Right.
yeah.
Definitely. And it made me build a lot of character, build a lot of strength, a lot of resilience to be able to do that and to know what I want rather than what everybody else around me does, and to be able to appreciate a lot of the differences with other people.
I think that's important too. That just, being able to, I mean, you said this was middle school or high school? When did you say?
This was high school.
This
Yeah.
was high school. And I mean, high school
Mhm.
is a difficult time for anyone. And,
Definitely.
but also in high school, not a lot of people know who they are.
Mhm.
They just want to be part of the, whatever, trying to fit in. But here you
Yeah.
are doing your own thing, which at that age may not think that, may think it's kind of difficult, but then how many years later, I mean, you find out how helpful that was to be able to know who you are at that age and embrace it rather than trying to hide from it.
Exactly, because I can remember there was a time where I was like, oh, I want to fit in with everybody. And I would go out and try out for things. And it just was not definitely some stuff I was good at. And I would be like, oh, what's wrong with me? Why can't I fit in? And I would try to change myself. And then I finally got to the point and that I thought, okay, I'm going to be my own person. And if people like me, great. If people don't, that's okay too. And that helped a lot. And also it was that acceptance with having a lot of meeting those relationships in that group and encouraging me to reach out even to other groups and having some friends that were just a few years older than I was, that were a positive influence, and just, keeping up the relationships after that many years.
And so then in turn, you got to do that once you
Mhm.
became the older person there.
Yeah.
And,
Exactly.
someone's giving you a hand up, helping
Mhm.
you out there. When you get lifted up, then you want to be, having that arm and hand back down and, trying to help everybody else get up to your level.
Right. I definitely want to help other people that have disabilities and to be able to be there with the support, and whether that's through my work at the school or my work on the blog. I just want to be able to be there for some people that have disabilities.
Nice. Okay. And so where can everybody find you here? Find your
Sure.
blog, find the way to
Sure.
contact you.
I am at michellesmission.net, and I'm also on Facebook and Instagram.
The same Michelle's Mission as well.
Yes, I do have a page on there as well too. So
Okay. Well, that's okay. Like on Instagram, it's Michelle's Mission.
actually
Or
it's
is it-
Steiner 7256, I believe. I'll give you the links
Okay.
for that.
Sure. Yeah. And I'll put that in the show notes so everyone can make sure they find you and make sure they get the right
Sure.
Michelle to follow here. And so thank you so much for being on here. It was great getting to talk with you. And
That's great. Thank you
and
for having me. I certainly appreciate it, Rusty.
yeah, you're very welcome, Michelle. Have a great rest of your day.
You too. Bye-bye.
All right. Thank you. Bye. All right. Michelle Steiner. So you guys, I'll put all that in the notes. So you get a hold of her, man. Check her out. Check out her work. And if you could use some extra assistance or know somebody that would, you can reach out to her as well. And I mean, with so much online, doesn't matter where she lives. She lives in Pennsylvania. You can live anywhere. You can live in Timbuktu. It's all right. Still the same. So you guys, thank you so much for listening here. I do have a couple things. So I wanted to do this. Jonathan, where is that? Oh geez. Well, that's fun. He wanted me to play something, so I'm going to do that here if I can. Let's see. Sheesh. Maybe I will. Where'd that go? I don't know. It's somewhere. Right where I thought I put it. Oh, there we go. There we go. Yeah, let's do this. So yeah, let's play this and we'll get on our way out. So I'm gonna make sure I get this up so everyone can see it.
I want to invite you guys to the Indianapolis, Indiana Omega Church, and you guys can join us via Zoom. The Zoom ID is 985-2323-805, and the password is 0000. And we'll be having service this Sunday at 10:30 or 11 a.m., and we would love for you to join us via Zoom. And if you're ever here in Indianapolis, Indiana, it is 2143 Prospect Street, and we would love for you to join us. God bless you.
All right, yeah, that's Jonathan there. So he wanted me to get that out into the world there. So if you guys want to check that out, it's on Zoom. Again, you can be anywhere you want. Yeah, and you guys, thanks so much for listening here on the Quantum Global Broadcasting Network. My name is Rusty Diamond, and you know how we do. Thank you everyone so much for being here again. So that is the show, man. Boom.
It's Rusty Diamond, motherfucker. It's Rusty Diamond, motherfucker.
Ernest! Ernest! Ernest!
Yes, Pee-wee.
You brought the snacks, right?